Welcome to Burn the Ship. This is the podcast where we connect entrepreneurs with professionals that can help you go all in on your business. We talk to people that have walked the walk, talked the talk, been through all the things that we experience as small business owners, and joined us to share some of those skills and experiences with us so that hopefully we can apply some of those things to our own business. So thank you very much for being here. Anyone that shares some time with me, time with the audience, it's very generous. And I want to say thank you for being a part of our little podcast family up front. So thank you for being here. I appreciate your time. It's very kind of you. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do?
Yes, so thank you very much, Bailey. So my name is Joseph Weaver. I am a bit of a serial entrepreneur. I have run a marketing and tech company called Global Design since 1995. I've also started several other ventures in the last 3 years. So I also have a FAA licensed drone business. I have automated retail, which is unique vending solutions, post security in the airports, EV charging, and then also in the last year, really deep dive as an AI generalist. And so really under the hood with how AI is here, how it's going to remain here, and how we all need to get on board.
Nice. I am interested. The reason that I was drawn to you is that one, your AI background and knowledge is unique. I think that a lot of people dive into the AI sphere with understanding how AI can apply to their one specific use case or vertical. And you have a little bit more general idea that I think some of those ideas kind of permeate between different industries, between different use cases. I also think that, like you said, you're a serial entrepreneur. You've put the hat on of running a business and taking care of multiple responsibilities in a business over different ventures over a really long period of time. So what I hope to learn from you is kind of what insight that you have from, a venture that is 30 years old to a venture that you've started in the last year, and how you're using some of those updated pieces of technology to further those journeys. So tell me your background, tell me your story and how you got interested in what you're doing today.
Sure. So, this is where the cool nerd part comes from. So, both of my degrees are in computer science. And so I started out in my career, really working for digital. I worked for Monsanto Chemical Company, building HR. And then I moved down to Maryland after getting my grad degree at Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute, undergrad from Lincoln University, to work at Price Waterhouse. So I did that for about 2.5 years, and they kind of will put you through the rungs. And I had an assignment on the West Coast, which isn't the easiest for people who are coming from the East Coast.
Sure.
And so after a while, I just kind of had the itch to kind of try something, and I was young enough, and I probably could have had a plan B or a plan C, but took a leap of faith. And so the energy of the first business is really around creative problem solving and really the ability to use both sides of your brain in terms of how to really process and think. So one of the greatest things about business that I don't think everybody can kind of appreciate is learning how to fail, right? And so with 31 years in business with my first company, I've seen everything. I've seen .com, I've seen 9/11, I've seen 2007, I've seen pandemics, just all kinds of stuff. And so what you really get conditioned for is how much that you can endure, and then where does your mind go when the tough times come, right? Like, do you get excited, like I need to grind a little bit more, I need to kind of get more in the weeds, or do you get like, oh man, the fear starts to overcome you? And I think those begin to separate out how entrepreneurs may sort of envision what they may want to go through and where their mind has been conditioned. Because, if you look at the reality of human nature, your mind is kind of built to protect you. And so most people never get to the point of really getting to their full selves because your mind doesn't allow you to. And so unless you're willing to override, your mind, how do you achieve great things?
That's a very good point. The internal battle and the external battle are two different things, right? I think that what I have found from talking to people that have been through a bunch of those experiences, like you said, you've been through a bunch of phases of different things that were affecting the economy, that were affecting small business, that were affecting the way people felt in very different ways. I believe that there are some people that use that as fuel to kind of the fear factor of the business side. I also see that a lot of people use those opportunities to build a lot of business resilience. I think that that resilience is both a strategy thing and a mindset. I think that there's a little bit of crossover between both of those things. So, talk to me a little bit about kind of your superpower. Like, what is that thing that you do well that has helped you persist through all of those different challenges? And how do you reflect on those things today as you continue to move forward with your business ventures?
So, it's interesting because, I had a cancer scare in 2023. And so, but towards the end of the year, it's like I had gotten this energy behind me where God was like, listen, I need you to focus on living. And so that's what got me to start the three other businesses, the drone business, the automated retail, the EV. I even applied for a cannabis dispensary license, right?
Nice.
Which, I don't want the dispensary now. I just want to deliver it via drone now. So,
Right.
all these things. So I think there is this inner thing. So good and bad, right? We all have good or bad things. So sometimes, I don't really know how to quit, right? Like I'm not really a quitter. And so that's a great thing because I really won't quit. But then sometimes there's some things you should quit, right? So, I've talked to other business owners about failing fast, right? Like, hey, if you feel like it's going to fail or you don't, see the things or you started in the wrong economic time, if you're going to fail fast, right?
Right.
So that you can reposition yourself and sort of re-engage. I think my superpower, if I had to kind of sift through, you never really know how you make things work. And it's really interesting about how people see you because, a lot of times I'm not the person to really, I've been a CEO for so long. So you don't really hear me complain about life or other things like that, right? Because it's just not, it doesn't come with the job, it doesn't come with the
Right.
title. And so that's just something that doesn't happen. So, well, I would say though, like my vision, my creativity, but my ability to take things that aren't connected and make them connect. Like a lot of my business development isn't traditional where people are like, hey man, here's the ocean or here's this big pond, we're all swimming in it and we're all just trying to find our opportunities. I don't do that. I rather if I see something in email wise or I reading something or I hear something, taking those things and being like, huh, let me grab this. Oh, you know what? I just heard this the other day. And then bringing those two things together. I think that's where I like when people were like, yo, you're getting your drone license? Like, what are you going to do? You're going to fly in the backyard with your drone? Like, what are you going to do? How are you going to make money with that? Right. But there's so many ways. GIS, right? We call it aerial intelligence. So anything from being able to tell a story, right, using the drones, but then also being able to do any kind of, you know, whether it's using LiDAR, whether it's window washing, whether it's infrastructure, whether it's bridges, whether it's construction. There's so many uses for the drone. And I already talked about, the cannabis use that I think is going to be great. They even have where there's an island in Maryland called Smith Island. And so only way to get there is by boat, but you can use the drones to take people their medications. So there are lots of things that maybe you can't see. And I think, there's a great movie that I saw. I don't know if you ever saw it called Acrimony.
I
And
have,
it's
yeah. It's an incredible movie. It's
incredible movie.
so
And so,
good. Yeah.
yes. And so that is, I don't know, that movie really stuck with me in a way because that really is what it is.
Hmm.
Right. And one of those times that you make decisions, don't make decisions, you hold on, you let go, and believing what you know, whether no one else around you believes it or not.
Right. Yeah. I can say that from a very high level, it's kind of been the same thing for me, right? Ways to make things that are disconnected seem connected. I feel like a lot of that comes from kind of what I would attribute to being my superpower over the last few years is like I check the boxes every day. I not only like on behalf of my clients or stuff that I'm doing internally, but my willingness and desire to stay up to date on the technology and the things that are moving in and around my industry has been something that has always given me a little bit of a leg up. The things that you're invested in obviously have a little bit of technology learning curve. I describe it that way because I think that learning curve is different for everyone. And I don't mean like old people suck at technology, young people are really good at it. People learn and consume those things in different ways, both from a business owner perspective and from a consumer perspective. Geographically, those things move differently. Some people just have the eye and the skill set and a natural curiosity towards technology. So, what does it look like for you for the ability to continuously learn and apply the things that you're learning about existing technology in the business world today to the things that you are setting your mind towards?
So, and again, this is kind of where you get the breadcrumb trail, right? And so both of my degrees are in computer science. So I've always been a person. Matter of fact, unfortunately, my last sibling on my dad's side, my aunt passed away, but she was like the historian. She had all of these amazing photographs and all these artifacts of things. So one of the photographs she had was me working my first job at Monsanto Chemical Company. Now I never wore glasses, right, up until maybe about 21, 22. But when I looked at the little green monitor, like with the green text on it, I'm like, no wonder I got glasses. I'm sitting there like 12 hours a day programming, and this thing's like maybe, 10 inches, 11 inches or something like that. But being able to sort of see what may be happening or what's coming and taking those thing. So like I said, I've been a cool nerd. So that for me, even when my business starting out early off, and I moved to Baltimore. So and I'm thankful for Baltimore because I really made a lot of connections really fast that allowed me to kind of build bandwidth and be able to build the business. And so I've always kind of relied on the technology, especially as a small company. If we used to do a lot of stuff in Flash, so we would have some amazing things. I've always let the technology kind of be the lead in terms of how I do business. And so, the infrastructure for these other businesses have taken a lot out of me in the past couple of years because I've been really focused on getting them up. Because once you get the technology in place, you don't have to do as much talking. And so you really have to lead with that. And so like this fellowship that I'm in, right? This AI generalist thing. And it's Saturday and Sunday, 3 hours each day, right? So this is extra time out of when you don't even have time to
Right.
kind of. And so, how do you find energy then? But I've never been sleepy in one class. But I hear, and I can see some of the comments and what people might say sometimes. And they're like, "Oh, this is overwhelming. Hey, can you slow down?" And that digestion, you're right. Everybody learns differently, but those create opportunities for business income as well, right? And so, if you look at most small, medium sized, sometimes even large sized businesses, they don't have the technical capacity inside. So, you always, someone told me a long time ago, hey, as long as you can solve a problem, you can make money. And that's very true.
Yeah, it's absolutely true. I think that one of the kind of the perspective that you gave me that is really cool is that letting technology be the lead to the way that you do business, I think is the words that you used. I believe that especially in the large business space, the flow of that problem solving is that this is the way that we do things, and how can we take this technology and bend it to our will to make it enhance the way that we already do things.
Yeah.
I think it's very different the way that you phrase that, which is I take the technology for what it is and what it does and the value that it brings me and the value that it brings my business, and I let that decide the way that I can use those tools to best serve my customers, to best invest in the relationships and the work that is making my business successful. Is that the way that you would describe it as well? Is that the thing that you're working with some of the people that you're working with on implementing?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good way to approach it because even with AI, so a lot of people think, oh man, AI can solve that. AI is just a tool.
Right.
So my background, building websites, building applications, programming, all those things play in greatly into what I can do with AI because I know what the full stack solution is already. So now if I just think about how this tool can help me out in that stack, that's different than trying to say, I need you to solve this whole problem and you can't break it down into small chunks.
Right. I agree. Tell me about the flip side. What for you on your entrepreneur journey has been difficult, and what do you see consistently with the people that you're working with, consulting with, people in your network that has also kind of reared its head as something that people should be on the lookout for if they're just investing themselves into their own entrepreneur space?
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, if you just take, this last administration and all the changes that we have seen, what's most important is that there's a trickle down effect that you can't predict, that you can't sort of say, well, this is going to happen in Q1 and Q2. It's kind of like referral business, right? Referral business is great, but there's no way that you could put a number on what referral business is going to be, right? You do good work, you do good progress, and hopefully people pass you along and share with you. But in times like this, where there's more chaos, there's more stress, maybe a nonprofit who gave you 10 projects last year, maybe they didn't get funded. So maybe they only can give you one. Maybe they can't give you any projects. But that kind of navigation now is really where you need to figure out where the efficiencies are. And I've been using, of late, we all like triples, we all like home runs, but man, there's nothing wrong with singles and doubles
For
either.
sure. For sure. I find that I've been in my space for 10 years, and I find that when I reflect on my journey, I appreciate the singles and the doubles more than I appreciate the home runs. And when you have 1,000 clients that pay you $100 a month is better than one client that pays you $100,000 a month, because if one client leaves you, it really changes your life. Rather than if one person falls off, you can find a way to replace that a lot easier when you have a lot of singles, a lot of doubles, a lot of people that make up that breadwinning trail. I also believe that the perception of home runs is a little bit jaded early on in your business. If you're early on in your business and you find a client where you're like, wow, I can't believe I'm in the room with the workload, with the dollar amount that this client is giving me, one, you may not be able to do the way that you thought you were going to be able to do the work. It's probably more than you anticipated it to be. In addition to that, what else can you do? What can you spend your time that you need to spend growing your business and adding to your business and understanding technology and adding to your own skills, adding to your own repertoire of things that you're good at? Sometimes no, sometimes yes. There are situations where both make sense, to saying no to a large client, to saying yes to a large client, and it's to each their own to make those decisions. Honestly, the faster you fail in those big clients situations, it builds a tremendous amount of resiliency. I've been there. I have been fully heartbroken on the way home from sales meetings, from work, from bad news from clients, and
Yeah,
it wears
yeah,
off. You get it back. It comes back in droves a lot of times if you
yeah.
continue to check off that checklist, do the things that you need to do, take care of the people to the best of your ability. And I think putting your client first is something that we really haven't spoken about that we probably should. I think that especially when your business and your industry is invested in technology, it is easy to put yourself first. It's easy to put your own flow first, your own workflow, your own way that things are working. But I think at the end of the day, no matter how invested in technology you are, the primary goal has to be putting the client and their experience first. My company is reading the experience economy right now, all of my salespeople together, and it's a really, really good demonstration of the way that experiences drive sales, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
I think that a lot of times maybe people make the technology side too complicated or a little bit too sexy for people that are looking at adding technology to their business. What would you say is the value of putting the client first and keeping it simple when it comes to more complicated situations? I find that it's probably 10 times more effective not to use crazy large technology words and make something seem complicated when somebody just wants something that works. So I think that maybe there's a fine line there between being able to, use your sales game and being able to speak intelligently about the technology. Where do you find that happy medium?
I think you kind of said it, like you don't want to dumb things down, but your ultimate goal, and what I've always kind of enjoyed, being in business, is because I like the creative problem solving aspect of what we do. So when you find a client and they're super excited to work with you and they're really, the brand has been stale or their execution has been not great or they haven't been able to roll out campaigns, you know, that right there in itself, I love those kind of problem sets because those allow us to be what we're best at, right? So we're not subject matter experts. I purposely have not tried to figure out one industry where we're going to be super intelligent in, let's just say, banking, and all we do is banking stuff. I don't get that. So that's not been the way that and maybe it's my ADHD or whatever, kind of playing out. But I don't like sort of being in one vein, and so whether it's the ponds I swim in or the types of clients, is really can we solve a good problem? And so that remains consistent today, in terms of, hey, what are you doing that we could be helpful with? Well, I don't want to be a note taker, and I certainly am not at a place in my life where I don't want to do work for just money. I want to be passionate about what I'm doing. I want to feel good in the end that I've delivered something that they're like, wow, this really changed the game. Like I was on the advisory board for the Maryland Clean Energy Center, right? And so we went in there, we had our first board meeting. And so they're like, tell things about you and then tell something that people might not know. And I'm like, well, listen, we did that logo. That's their logo now 10 years ago. Right. And everybody's like, oh, wow. But like, that's the joy of it right there.
Yeah, for sure. I think that, and that you can't say enough about building a community of people either. The sharing those wins with people being excited about that, finding like my people was a huge people that relate to the sales space, people that relate to the solving problems, the people that you can sit down and eat some food or have a drink or smoke a cigar with and talk about the things that you're experiencing, the things that your clients are experiencing, how you're changing the game, where you go from here, like that network side of things, that the synergy that I find myself creating with other people that think like me, even situations like this, like
Yeah.
I enjoy these conversations so much because having the knowledge that other people are putting their client first and that we're all kind of on this big train to trying to solve problems for people that are working really, really hard as effectively as possible is something very refreshing. So what are your goals? Where do you go from here, and how can I help, and how can my audience help?
So I think these are, and as many years as I've been in business, I don't ever think I've seen this level of change and just uncertainty. So, like, the internet was huge, but where we are now with life, technology, AI, all the jobs. I mean, think about the Spirit airline folks, right? That's 17,000 people. And by the way, that even affects me. So you talk about a trickle down. So my vending machine is in Terminal D at
Mm,
BWI. Well, guess where most of the gates were?
yeah.
In Terminal D, right? So I'm like, hey, I need to move my machine now. So even something as simple as, hey, man, I'm doing great. The machine's doing great. There's something that happened that I ain't have anything to do with.
Yeah,
I couldn't have
completely out
predicted
of your
it,
control. Yeah.
out of my control, right? All I can do now is adjust to it. I can't take it like, oh man, I just bought a whole new shipment of everything. Like what? I'm not selling stuff now. So all these things kind of play into where we are now. I think for me, the goals are using what I know and what I can see in my mind to find the right types of opportunities. Like we just won a contract for to help the Atlanta Beltline do drone photography, do some GIS stuff. But lo and behold, also at the same time that's going on is the FIFA World Cup. Well, shoot, I played left wing striker most of
Oh
my life
wow.
in soccer, man. So I'm like super excited because I'm like, oh, well, this will be part of it. And so I'm like, all right, let me really get deeper into the FPV game because
Yeah.
maybe I can get the bike riders. Maybe I can do something, some action sport kind of stuff. So those are the things that kind of excite me. Like even driving down to Calvert County, right? 2 hour drive. Did it yesterday. Yes, it was Mother's Day, but it was like, okay, kind of make this a little trip thing out of it. But just going down there and I put my vest on. When I put my vest on, nobody fools with me, right?
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I mean everything. I'm flying around, I'm doing all kinds of stuff, but I'm in my own zone at that point, right? And so it's funny because I'll try to like, when I bring the drone down, I'll try to take a few flicks off and put them on my phone so I can share it with some people. So even the things where people are like, "Oh man, that is really cool." So capturing these things that are going to become a part of a documentary, but knowing that they're just pieces, right? And I need all the pieces of it to kind of fit together. So everyone can just help by, if you have a situation where it's in marketing and technology, whether it's branding or building campaigns, or it's using the drones to develop commercials, like we just did a commercial for Constellation
Oh,
using the
nice.
drones, right? So being this ability to, how do you want to tell your story, right? And anything at this point is really, really, and I do mean really possible. I mean, I don't think there's anything that's not really possible. So that's what I'm saying, an unprecedented time, because you can give me any kind of problem set now, and I can solve anything for you.
I think that you're absolutely right. I think that there's a twofold like cause and effect to that, right? And the cause of the amount of technology that is integrated into our day-to-day lives, right? The effect is one, you're more capable than ever of solving problems and bringing value to people. And the other side of that is that the expectation of people that are working with you is that you're more valuable than you were previous to that technology. That your expertise and your experience has grown since new things have been introduced to the business world. I think that is our duty to ourselves and our businesses and our clients to continue to immerse ourselves in that information, right? And continue to challenge ourselves with unique problems that we know that we can solve as people based on our experience and expertise. Um, I think if you do that and if you've focused the whole time and you've rooted your business in making sure that what the client needs and the problem that needs to be solved is the thing that you continuously revert yourself back to, you would be extremely surprised at what you're capable of. You would shock yourself. I think that that is true for the vast majority of people, the overwhelming percentage of people that have endeavored into the business world. And I appreciate people like you, because without people like you to challenge the way that things have been done and push the pace on new ways to be effective, there's no telling how long that life cycle takes to get us to where we are today, which is that exact what you just said. Anything is possible. We can do whatever we set our mind to. We can amaze ourselves at what we are capable of. If there is anything that I can do for you in the meantime, someone you would like to know, you should come to Atlanta and catch a World Cup game. By the way, we've got a big slate of some very cool stuff going on in and around Atlanta. But if there's anything that I can do, I think we share some loves. Like we share some loves for the client, for success, for being a part of that success, for being able to begin pushing a little snowball down the hill so that other people can be successful. I have found extremely gratifying, the most gratifying thing in my life aside from, parenting my children, right? Like genuinely the purpose that I've been given with the ability to problem solve and do unique things in the business world has been a really, really cool experience for me personally. So if I can help you in any way, please let me know. For you guys listening, I couldn't say it again, burn the ship. I think that this episode is a really, really good example of taking a chance. Like you talked about it earlier, you could have had a plan B or a plan C, and you didn't, and you made it work, and you continued to invest in yourself and the people around you, and you figured out a way to make it happen. And you had to run some audibles. You had to change the play every now and then. You had to do some different things, and that's what business is about. It's about burning the ship and committing to yourself and figuring out a way to make it work, because there are people like myself, there are people like Joseph that are more than willing to help you push your dreams as close to the edge as possible, but it's up to you to take the leap. So please tell people where to find you if they want to pick your brain, if they want you to be a guest on their podcast, maybe they want to buy something from you or work with you, become a client. How do they find you? And I also want you to give us our closing words for the conversation here. I've really enjoyed this conversation, and I look forward to being a piece of your network as we continue to progress in our businesses.
Well, this is awesome, and thank you for the opportunity. And certainly for Atlanta, I have a lot of family there, but also my oldest daughter is near the end of her medical education down there, medical school.
Oh, no, where's she going?
So,
She going to Mercer?
PCOM.
Oh, okay, cool. Nice.
Yep. So I definitely will be down there more, and we'll definitely get a chance to sort of connect and do some things. So one, you just really made and this is what the light bulb moment is. So like I was trying to like figure out in my mind, like burn the ship. Like I'm not
Mm-hmm.
understanding. But now that you just put it in the context that you just spoke of, now I really get it. So thank you very much for the opportunity. If folks, you certainly can find me on LinkedIn, Joseph N. Weaver. My primary business, GDI, is gdiconnect.com. So that's gdiconnect.com. The drone business is gflydesign.com. And certainly if, AI, and right now we're at a place where it isn't so much even about being a business owner. There are still opportunities for fractional employment that I explore or that I look at. So I think we just have to have a mindset now where it isn't so much of what I used to do, it's what can I do and what am I willing to invest in? So, like, hey, the 6 month fellowship, I'm a big time golfer, super big time golfer,
Me
love
too.
golf. So, my crack of dawn, weekend now is all jumbled up,
Yeah.
but that's okay. Maybe I play on Friday mornings now. I just played 7 holes with them on Saturday. I didn't play on Sunday. So, everything gets changed, but I also know in class, I've never been sleepy.
Mm-hmm.
So that just shows you where my level of passion and excitement is. So if you can find some things that you're passionate about or that you're excited about, those are the things that you should invest your energy in, right? I made these great, taking the skills and things that I've learned. I made these tremendous Mother's Day videos, right, for the people in my life. And so instead of getting cards, and I still got flowers and different things, but instead of like doing a traditional, I took something that I learned and then I created these animated movies, right, which really tell a great story, allow you to see the timeline. So even taking something that I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm doing something with it, but let me like do something with it, right, and make it practical to what I'm doing.
I love that. I think that the passion is everything, right? Like when you lose the passion, you need to find something else to be passionate about as quickly as possible. I look forward to having you in Atlanta. 18 holes of golf, wherever you want to play.
I know.
World Cup game. You would be remiss to miss out on the World Cup, especially for my people that are listening to Atlanta and you don't know anything about soccer. Please, like indulge. The World Cup experience is really cool, and I've been fortunate to take part in it a couple of times, and I hope that you guys find the opportunity as well. Burn the ship, like I said. You can do great things. You can be really, really great. I believe in you guys, and until next time, see ya.